joined with Luke Heibrecht, who works in financial services in the Winchester Presque Isle area. This is Luke's first time, so thank you for coming on and joining us.
Welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Of course, so we're about to learn a lot of financial things. So you work in financial services, so, and of course you're going to be doing something, but let's talk a little bit about, I guess, the reason behind your special event that you're having.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggest things that we found, I work with Great Northern Financial that's headquartered up there in the Winchester Presque Isle area. Really what we found is there's just a really basic lack of education. And I don't think that's really a surprise to anybody. There's you know, I know up here kind of the education system's a little bit different than it might be in larger metro areas, but there's really a gap between where people are kind of at in high school as they start to go through that, you know, financial education in the beginning stages of their high school education there, and as they start to transition into, you know, adulthood where they do the adulting, as they say. It's really just kind of throwing things at the wall until it sticks, right? And what we're finding is realistically about 70% of Americans have never come up with a financial plan at all. You know, these numbers here, it's kind of alarming, but also that's really what we're on a mission to do, is to help people, you know, meet them where they're at without any, you know, management fees, any costs for consultations, anything like that. And really just being able to help people exactly where they're at, whether that's something as simple as making a budget, which obviously is not simple for everybody, but maybe something as complex as long-term care, making sure that when you retire, your income stretches as long as you need it to. There's really just a lot of different things that we do, but it really centers around that education piece. You know, we really want to make sure that people understand the different options that are available to them. And that's something that a lot of people just don't know, right? Again, it's just kind of going with the flow.
Where is the biggest disconnect? You know, I'm thinking about, is it like balancing a checkbook, or is it more so like planning stocks and investments? Because I remember when I learned about compound interest, I'm like, ooh,
absolutely.
I need this.
Absolutely.
You know, where does that start?
Yeah. And speaking specifically of compound interest, the biggest thing is the rule of 72, right? That's something they don't teach, and it really goes to show how important compound interest is and how important it is to start saving early. Really. But really, I would say the disconnect is a lot of the education is focused around balancing checkbooks and things like that, and that's good information to know, but as we transition more and more into the digital age, realistically, we've got systems that do that for us. So it needs to be more of a focus on sort of what is the long-term goal, where am I at right now, and sort of, you know, what's going to help me get to where I need to be, I would say. And it's really kind of that preparation, the planning, and it's one of those things that's kind of big and scary until you really break it down, and then it's really not all that tough, but you really just have to take that first step, and that's what we're here to help people do.
And do you think it's hard though? Because like, you know, you can map it out, you know, plan something right now, let's say, and then like in a year or so, it changes or it doesn't go the way you want it to, even like longer term, like 4 or 5 years. Like how do you keep it maintainable throughout this whole time span?
Yeah, one of the biggest things that we recommend is, you know, doing a budget checkup whenever, at the very least, whenever you have a significant life event, but also, you know, really at the minimum, I would say on an annual basis. And whether that's on your own, making your own budget, sort of reassessing what your needs are, your income, your expenses, and things like that, or maybe, you know, you have a financial professional or a financial advisor that you work with. It's really, I would say the biggest thing that's preventing people from succeeding in their financial goals is just not taking that first step, right? Is actually coming up with that plan, whether that's on your own again or working with somebody.
What do you think those people are afraid of?
I think they're afraid of the reality check is the biggest thing. There's a lot of people that, again, just kind of flying by the seat of their pants. There's a lot of income coming in and there's a lot of expenses going out. And again, a couple of statistics, about 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And that's kind of across all the different, you know, brackets of income that people have. You know, that might be somebody working a minimum wage job, which obviously that's going to be a little bit tighter for the majority of people. But there's also people that are making 6 figures a year that are living paycheck to paycheck, which to some people sounds crazy, but that's the reality that we live in. You know, things are more expensive than ever, but realistically, it's, I think just the shock value of actually sitting down, realizing, wow, I really have to make some changes. If that's something that, you know, I want to hit these goals, that's just something you got to do.
Facing reality, right?
And of course, making that first step, like you said, taking that first step. Okay, so you will be doing a talk, an event coming up for those that are interested. Tell us a little bit about that event, talk.
Definitely. So the talk is called Tomorrow Starts Today, Understanding Financial Tools for Every Stage. And really what it's going to be is just a conversation, sort of everything from savings accounts to, again, making sure that you've got a guaranteed, you know, stream of income for the rest of your life, sort of kind of open to everyone, really. It's from seniors in high school, the availability, seniors in high school, really up to senior citizens, and there's something for everybody. The goal is that, you know, whether you're on a scale of 1 to 10 in financial knowledge, maybe a 3, maybe a 7, maybe even a 9, somebody who worked at, you know, a bank for a number of years in their whole career, just that everybody walks away with something new. they're learning something new.
And when is it?
It's going to be February 3rd at 11 a.m. It's going to be a Tuesday, which is a little bit of a weird time here for most people in traditional work schedules. But if you register with that QR code on the flyer right there, what that's going to look like is it's going to send a recap of that actual talk itself. It'll send a recording as well as digital files for each of the paper options that we have physically for the in-person attendee.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
You make it so simple.
absolutely. Want to
Thank
make
you,
sure
sir.
it's open to everyone.
Appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming.
Of course.
We'll be right back after this break.
Start a fight, themself up an appetite.